I want to introduce you to the two-part breathing technique that we see in many different breathing styles, breath work, meditation, from the yogic tradition to the Wim Hof style breathing. This is a very natural breathing pattern that if you ever observe a newborn breathing, you'll notice they breathe like this as well. They breathe deep into the belly and then let it come up into the chest and then just naturally exhale. And there's a lot of different ways that we can play with this pattern and a lot of different ways that you can use this to different applications to enhance your mind, your body, and your energy. So this is a very powerful breathing style and breathing technique that when you reconnect to this and you really understand how to control it, you will gain a lot more control, not only just over your breath, but over your mind and over your body. So it's really, really cool. A lot of people, depending on what they're experiencing or maybe stress from different environmental stimulus, sometimes tend to get away from this breathing pattern. Oftentimes when people have things like a tight neck or tight hips, that can be from something, or even a tight back, that can be from something like not breathing as deep into this pattern. So the more that people reinstill this pattern and let this become their natural way of breathing, the more their bodies will relax and open up, and they'll just feel more in alignment. So sometimes, again, depending on the person, it can take a little time to practice this breath and just allow the body to reinstill this type of breathing naturally. Like I said, most people breathe naturally like this from birth. And then, over time, it's just important to continue to allow that breath to be natural. So if for any reason you've gotten out of that rhythm, this is a great way to practice. And if you're already there and continuing to be in this natural pattern, then you're just going to know how to enhance it even more and take your breath work and your meditation to even deeper levels. So I want to share this style of breathing with you right now and just walk you through it. I'm going to break it down into a few steps, and then we'll take it into a more natural application just for everyday use as well. So the two-part breathing technique, it really is very simple. However, there's a lot going on. And when we start to analyze it and kind of give it an overview, oftentimes people just overthink it. So just try to relax and just let your body do what it does naturally, which is breathe for you and love supporting you. All right. So just come into a comfortable position, whether you're going to be lying down on the ground or sitting against a chair or a wall, or just sitting out in the open, whatever's comfortable for you. And I want you to take your left hand and place it on your belly. So put it just right about the belly button, maybe a little bit higher. And I want you to take a deep breath in through the nose, down into your hand. So you really feel yourself breathing into your hand and let your belly expand. You feel your stomach start to expand, and just in the stomach. We're not going to focus on the chest just yet. So do 2 more breaths like that, just breathing deep into the stomach, and feel yourself pushing your hand out as your stomach starts to expand. And we want to focus on breathing through the nose and then out through the nose. Now you may have started to notice your chest wanting to expand with this. That's a really great thing as well. What we're going to do for part 2 is start to focus on the expansion up into the chest. Now, one thing I want to point out before we do this, a lot of people, when they start to bring the breath into the chest, they will start to breathe kind of upward, almost as if they're shrugging their shoulders. So it almost looks like this a lot of times. Kind of that up breath. And we really, if that works for you, it's totally fine. But what we found to be a lot more potent and even more easy to, maybe more efficient is the word, is to understand when you're breathing up into the chest, to not really so much allow the chest to rise up. It will rise up a little bit naturally, but what we want to do is focus on expanding outward the chest in a 360-degree radius. So not only in the front, but also in the back. So we're almost kind of expanding in all directions throughout the chest, the back muscles, and really the sides as well. And so what I've found to be really helpful is when I take my mind and because you can actually expand your chest and your back around the lung area and up a little bit higher with your mind. You can use muscles to expand that. So just play with that for a second or two here. Just put your mind into your upper back and into your chest and just feel yourself expanding kind of outwards versus upwards. And see if you can grasp that. And what this does is if you start to expand from those muscles and really allow yourself to support the diaphragm breathing, you will actually create a lot more space for oxygen to go naturally, and you'll start to attune those muscles to get that memory to where you'll just do this naturally. So even if that's new for you, you can practice it. And again, everybody's got a different way that they approach this. This might just happen naturally for you. Maybe thinking about it isn't really the way to go. And maybe it is. Maybe you sit there and you learn to attune these muscles with your mind. Sometimes you just breathe and it just happens. So I want you to focus right now on, we're gonna go to step number 2. So the first step again is hand on the belly, deep breath into the nose. And then I want you to continue the breath up into the chest, expanding outward in a 360-degree radius, all directions. Nice. And then just release out to the nose. So let's do 3 more of those, deep into the belly and then naturally up into the chest with that full expansion. Notice how I'm rising up a little bit, but I'm not really raising up fully. I'm really still expanding to the back and forward to the chest. Cool. So if that's new to you, or if you feel like the pattern was a little different than you're used to, I want you to practice that a few times throughout this week. And just even once or twice a day for a few minutes is perfect. And it will start to click in naturally. I do want to point out this pattern of inhalation into the belly, up into the chest. There's a few things here. So there's different ways you can use this application. In what we call complete breath, which is often used in the yogic style breathing. Complete breath is just a full breath into the nose. So and then we hold at the top for about 1 to 3 seconds. And then it's an exhale. For about the same duration that you breathe in, maybe a little bit longer on the exhale. And what that does is it creates a very calming effect on the nervous system. Complete breath is something that will bring you into a state of just feeling calm and peaceful and really alignment, because what it's doing is bringing in a lot of oxygen in a very controlled, relaxed way. So the body feels so safe. And again, this is a great way. Like, I woke up super congested today. I'm up in the altitude and we just got here. So it kind of shifted everything quick. And so just doing about 2 minutes of that breathing, I started to feel a lot of things just moving out and clearing out. And I'm breathing so much better through both sides of my nasals. The other kind of extreme of this is like the Wim Hof style breathing, for example. With Wim Hof style breathing, they actually recommend to breathe out through the mouth. So again, in the complete breath, it's in through the nose, out through the nose. And through most breathing styles, people really recommend in through the nose and out through the nose. But in the Wim Hof style, at least in some of that style and some of the more mainstream concepts of that, it's in through the nose, kind of a quick out to the mouth. So it so that's still the 2-part breathing, where I'm bringing it into the belly, up to the chest, and then out, but it's a different way of exhaling. And that really provides a different feeling in the body. That Wim Hof style feels a lot more intense, and I feel my body heating up a lot more quickly, almost to the point where I feel kind of ethereal and light, and starting to kind of charge the body. So, there's different applications for this, and I'll be sharing different ways to utilize this breathing with you. The other thing I do want to share with you is that this style of breathing really does become natural. And again, it is natural from birth. So if you're reinstating this kind of breathing, that's great. If it's natural to you now, even better. But what you'll find is the more that you do this, the 2-part breathing kind of will become one breath. So you'll almost notice that the stomach will expand at the same time that maybe like a half second before the chest starts to go. So it's almost like I'll just show you one more time. And I was kind of exaggerating the upper so you could see that, but it almost becomes a 1-part breath. It's just in and out, but everything's moving, and that's really how the diaphragm likes to move the best, is just full expansion in the 360s and really just opening up all the way. And the more that you get to a place where you can allow that to be a natural way of breathing, even when you're just sitting working on your computer or driving in the car, you'll start to breathe like that very naturally. It won't be as full as and intense necessarily, but you'll just have that connection between the mind and the body and the diaphragm. So it's really, really powerful. So again, that's why we practice this stuff in different applications. And what's really important mostly is just for you to find what works for you. You know, everybody is going to have a different perception of this, and everybody is going to be, you know, really just finding their own rhythm. So that's the most important thing, is always find your own flow and allow yourself to just really trust yourself and your intuition. All right, so practice this a little bit more and really reinstill that 2-part breath. Again, deep into the belly, up into the chest, nice and wide, 360, and then exhaling out through the nose. Do that for a few minutes, and then maybe even try some out through the mouth as well. See what feels right to you and just what feels the best at this moment, and just continue to build from there. All right, peace.